Okay, so we took our blue plastic cups, used various different circles to be able to trace the different size bubbles that I wanted to. I also used the bottom side of this tin to get some bigger sizes. So as you can see, due to the fact that they're so transparent, it's actually kind of hard to make out what it is. Because the plastic blue cups that I'm using to create the bubbles is too transparent, my only solution is to layer the circles that I cut from the cups and use a jewelry tool known as a bead reamer to punch holes into the circles and then run bead wire through the punched holes that I made back in, and then create a loop using some pliers that I could twist and then fold over. Doing this, I'm able to bind and cluster my bubbles to get the look that I'd like.
We all know the stories. The ones with fairies, magic, and everything. These stories have traveled from generation to generation. There is, however, one story that is yet to be told. A story of life, adventure, and love. The story of the ocean views.
And there you have it. My creative processes and problem-solving skills came in handy when trying to develop the bubble clusters for my Little Mermaid decorating theme for the cocktails cages. So I realized that I didn't actually show how I created the circles. What I did first was I cut the brim off of the cups, then I sliced down the center to cut off the bottom, and it gave me a clean panel that I was able to trace various size circles onto the plastic. Once they were cut out, then I was using the bead reamer to punch holes, layering 2 at a time, and then using beading wire to put through the holes that I punched, looping them back, and then pinching one end with the pliers so that I can twist the loops and then press them down so that the piece would be all binded together. I'm also going to be using the rim of the glasses. They came out with these really cool rings. I think that I can weave these throughout the different rods of the outside of the cage to create some more bubble effects in the background. So bubbles are complete. Now there is a Pinterest craft that I found where you can take different colored plastic and cut it up into different shapes and forms and then bake them in an oven, and it'll give you almost like a sea glass, and I'm hoping on my end a coral effect. So we'll see how that comes out. Okay, so for those of you who might know, using the plastic cups in the oven will kind of do a shrinky-dink type of effect where the heat of the oven will actually shrink down the plastic that I'm using. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust my tripod. So what we're going to do is take pieces of the cup and I'm going to cut it up. I want like a seaweed effect, so we'll see how it works. This can either go one of 2 ways. It'll either be really amazing or it will be horrific. Oven is preheating to 325. We're going to take our sheet. And I think I'll do a couple of squigglies just to see how that will work. So I realized I was trying to make it too difficult on myself by going over and creating individual strips. What I did was I cut into the cup, still using the brim. Created my little leaflets that I wanted to create, and then cooked those up in the oven for about a minute or two. But I realized that if I split the rim and pull it, it gives you that seaweed effect. So now, as you can see, all of these seaweed pieces are complete. These, again, are going to be intertwined and put into the cage to create the seaweed look. Probably use some zip ties to put them in. I didn't know how many pieces I needed, so I just went ahead and cut up all of the green cups, and so all of our seaweed is done. Now I'm thinking I'm going to go ahead and take these cups and cut them up and make them into chandelier-like pieces that I will place throughout it, and it'll just give it that pretty decorative look to dangle. I'm only going to do 5 of every cup because I feel like we don't really need that much. This one actually has 6, that's okay. That's what we have so far with the cup rims that I use to make bubbles on the outside. You also have my bubble clusters that I created. It's very faint for you to see, but I have my seaweed climbing up the sides, bubbles in the background. Went ahead and added the pinwheels with the green and the blue. Added this ribbon thing as a toy. And currently right now I am making a couple of dangle toys. I am folding the ones that are long, hole punching them and just placing them on. And then for every so gathering, I grab a crystal bead and put that on. So this kind of adds a beachy effect. This is something that they can bite and chew on. I can play with it. I might put a bell on the end of it. Oh, feeling this emotion. Oh, feeling in the ocean. Oh, thinking of you now. Oh, ocean view. Oh, feeling this emotion. Oh, feeling in the ocean. Oh, thinking of you now. Oh, ocean view.
We all know the stories. The ones with fairies, magic, and everything. These stories have traveled from generation to generation. There is, however, one story that is yet to be told. A story of life.
So I was going through and reviewing what materials I had left from my Little Mermaid shopping theme. And I also was going through materials that I had from past projects. And I decided that I wanted to make some jellyfish dangle toys. So my creative concept is that I would take some of the leftover pink plastic cups, cut just the bottom off, and utilize that upside down as the body of my jellyfish. From the Little Mermaid shopping materials, I have some purple sequins that are woven together on a strand that I want to utilize for the legs. I also have some pink decorative mesh cord that I bought back in April or last month for Easter that I want to utilize as well for the legs. And what I'm going to do is cut various lengths and group them together combining them with a zip tie that I could push through a hole that I put at the base of the cup. And then pulling that zip tie through that hole, I'm able to create a loop that I can place a key ring or a hook onto, and then that way I can dangle it wherever I want within the cage. So that's the cool part about shopping at the Dollar Tree and the 99-cent store is the abundant amount of supplies that you have that you can use for current projects or even for the future. So this is 2 days after decorating it. You can check out all the blue plastic cup bubble detail that we have going on in the front and in the back. We have our jellyfish. As you can see, the girls have already made good use of taking down all those purple sequins. Those are now all at the bottom of the cage. There's Glimmer playing with the other jellyfish that's on the lower level. Got a blue, how can I say, foraging ball with blue decorative shred to give another take on Bubbles. Down in the corner, we have our green plastic cups that I folded and baked to make look like seaweed. It's still very faint for anybody to see. Got a couple of forks, plastic forks, to represent the dingle hoppers, and this is the pink and purple dangle piece that I made with those plastic pieces. Got a key ring with some green ribbon. I went ahead and removed this ribbon piece from this stick. That was becoming a trip hazard for the feather babies and I didn't want to have any risks. So I will be working on modifying that and adding it a couple of days later. I'm going to go ahead and keep this style or this theme, Who's It, What's It Galore, for about 2 weeks. Just make sure to keep it nice and clean at the bottom and then cycle out new toys. But they love it.